hear
Yeah,
it now?
you're there. Yeah, you're there.
Okay. And can I hear it from this?
Hi, John. Yeah,
Hi there, how are you?
Oh, it's being very slow.
Good. How are you?
Good.
Can I?
Good.
Connection good? Yeah,
Yep.
connection is good.
Connection's good. Yeah, we're good.
All right.
Should I get the other ones or these?
Is that connected to this?
No.
No, it's not. You might want to use the headset to plug in. There you
I
go.
can use this.
Yeah.
And where do I plug this in?
I think it's at the bottom. Oh, right here. Oh, he can hear you.
Okay.
Sure,
I
talk to him.
can't thank you enough. Can you hear me, John?
Yeah, I can hear you clearly. You can hear me?
Can you hear me?
Perfect.
Got it?
Okay.
Can I enlarge it, or that's that's the way it goes?
I think it's at.
That's the
You
max.
can see that.
Okay, so
Good.
good evening, all participants. My name is John Lettieri. I am a board member of the CIBPA Toronto chapter. It is great pleasure that I have you join us this evening for our first ever virtual CIBPA virtual talk series. We'll be holding 5 talk series, 1 per month for the next 5 months on interesting topics. As you'll see this evening, you'll be enlightened with our conversation with Mr. Ciccolini. Sam, you know what? It's there's a certain vintage where I really haven't.
I know.
Calling you by your first name, but I'll do that. And thank you for allowing that, Mr. Ciccolini. So if you go to CIBPA, www.cibpa.com for any information, a membership, and also our future talks in our talks evening. This evening, we'll be chatting with a great friend of the CIBPA and a true pillar in our community, Mr. Sam Ciccolini. Sam is the principal of Master Insurance, a recipient of many awards. Sam has been recognized for his efforts in Canada and globally. To name a few, his accomplishments: Award of Order Canada, co-founder of Richmond Hill Bond Kings AAA Hockey Club, founding member of the Italian Canadian Savings, recipient of the Italia nel Mondo for the Republic of Italy, and many more. I would like, before we start, I'd like to quickly review the protocol of this evening's chat or talk. If there are any questions from the viewers, feel free at any point. We will do our best to answer and keep this, Sam, as much as we can have this as a conversation with our viewers, the best it would be. And we like to keep it that way throughout the talk. So it's our first ever CIBPA talk series. I believe, Mr. Sam, it's your first Instagram talk and chat.
It is my first Instagram. I've done all the others,
Well,
but this is the first, and it. I thank you. That's amazing, actually.
So
thanks for having me first.
67 years for us to be able to do this.
If we screw it up, at least they can't throw any eggs at us.
And if they get up and leave, we don't really know.
And what I did is, on my way home, I bought all the tomatoes, so nobody can throw them.
Well, I'm sure they won't be doing that this evening. But it's a great honor and great pleasure to be asked to host this talk, and most of all, being fortunate to have Sam, you as our first guest. This is the first time for all. It's the first time for me hosting anyone. I am a bit nervous, but I am super excited to go. So, Mr.
Should never
Ciccolini,
be nervous,
good evening,
Johnny.
and welcome.
Good evening.
So, I think today's talk was about change, maybe solutions. You know, Sam, you're definitely have one that's seen many changes and paradigm changes in the economy. We can go as far back as the late 70s, early 80s, when interest rates were super high, to all the many economic challenges and paradigm changes. I think tonight's question, actually, you know, for our viewers is what insight could you give us on, the effort on pivoting, and what type of, results should we see or expect, and how should our behaviors really, work in line with the changes that we're making to, to move forward in such unknown, I guess, tomorrows, really.
Okay, well, John, first of all, I want to thank the CIBPA, yourself, John, Leandra Pugliese, Nino Pasquariello, Bob Sicco, for the great initiative, and what a great series this is going to be. Business has evolved, and the evolution of information technology has skyrocketed from the mid-60s, when my brother Frank and I started Masters Insurance, to the late 70s, with the incredible rise of interest rates, to the late 90s with the spike of the cell phones and the iPads, the laptops, and now we're trying to go paperless. So imagine all that. The evolution from the mid-70s to today, it's just been unbelievable. All this has made, for my opinion, is a better communication, working diligently to maximize the results while minimizing the destruction of our resources. 1978 to 1982 was one of the most difficult times in business, families, and the community. The interest rates were at an all-time high, as much as 24%. The dollar was at an all-time low at 50 or 60 cents to the US dollar. People were afraid that they may not be able to put food on the table. Backyards, vegetable patches were the order of the day. Whoever had businesses that were always counting beads, saving pennies, and as much as mortgages were up to 24%, the businesses that had some disposable income, who were able to put it on GICs, the banks were giving them up to 18% interest on the savings account.
Wow.
Not too many people, for example, the time was spent on growing families, and the families at that particular time was really tantamount on growing the proper roots to make sure that they all had the proper education, the proper upbringing, the proper stamina, and the proper things to do in life. In our era of COVID-19, I believe the same thing is happening to people now in a different level. We're genuinely afraid of losing our job or losing our home. Businesses need to be innovative in their delivery of their work. They need to have positive attitude and a lot of patience. I've always used the words bestowed by my parents, and that is honesty, integrity, and hard work. My dad always said, hard work never killed anybody. And I take that, and we have installed that into our business. And we can tell you this: service, service, service. I can't emphasize enough on that word, because if people actually do service their accounts, they will have zero reason to either change you or get somebody else to do their business. And in my opinion, whoever in the last 5 to 10 years have had the smartness to save and have a bit of money put away, well, today they're the kings, because money is king. People also need to be patient and be mindful of the dreadful virus that can be toxic, in particularly with people over 70 years old that are most vulnerable. Having said that, I believe, and our governments need to start stepping up. We have to be mindful. We need to go back to work, and go back to work in a normal situation with strict guidelines for safety and security of all.
So when you speak about normal situations, so you're talking of the yesterday, or are you talking of a standard practice in business?
Well, what I'm saying, John, is this. In my opinion, we have a skeletal staff of 8 people in the office and 120 working from home. I can tell you at the beginning of March, when we started this, the middle of March, everybody was really happy to be working from home. Do you know that a major portion of the people that are working from home now are asking us, when are we going back to work?
Wow.
And the production, although we always go on the premises that people are working as hard as they were at home from work, and they are, the production is not the same because they have to do things via email. They have to call people 3 or 4 times. The rationale of people not getting back to them, or whether they are just busy with another phone. Like today, I had 8 calls, 8 Zoom calls. Like, how do you pick up a telephone and talk to your client when you're on a conference call? And it's not fair to the people from the conference call. It's not fair to the client. This is where the productivity has gone down a little bit. Although some of my younger siblings say, well, Dad, come on, Zio, you're getting a little old here. I think things are going well. But I think that there's a better way to do it, and that is do it properly, do it safely, do it with guidelines that the governments are setting out with all the health system, and get some semblance of work back to your office.
So moving forward, if you were to look into the crystal ball, that's a behavioral change on 2 fronts. Definitely yourselves as operators and principals of a business, and generational point of view. You mentioned you tapped into that. Do you see a combination of moving towards more at home and it's about adaptability, or do you really believe that people are feeling a lot more secure being in an office or being in an environment in front of the principals of a company? And
I think we have to have a great combination of both, John. We've been, as you know, we have 10 children, 6 grandchildren, 3 of us, and God rest Frank's soul. He just passed away a month ago. All I can tell you in all our, thank you. All I can tell you on all our conference calls, yes, at the beginning, I think there was that rah, oh, wow, what a great thing, eh? We're working from home. A major portion of the people now want to have a balance, and they have a balance of both. They want to work a little bit from home, a little bit at the office, and with the limited space they have, because all of a sudden, if you have 120 people working with you, and with you, I don't say for you, because, there's no such a thing as people working for you anymore. Right. They have to work with you. Right. And in my opinion, if you take the position of 50% of those people coming back, either a week or 2 weeks, and those intervals, and turn it around and they're home, and the next 50% come at work, it seems to be the great balance that people are looking for to get back into some serenity of business and some serenity of having a good 9-to-5 job too.
So on that note, they'll change the behavior on how they're going to be or where they're going to perform, but it doesn't change on how you're going to gauge the result. Is the result, do you see it, you talk about less productivity. Is that because of the change and the way the process is going to work? Or do you feel that they're definitely more productive when there's a connection?
I think number one, that's a good question, because there are some people that are so well in tune with the IT system that for them, it's a lot easier to work anywhere they can grab a computer.
Right.
But for others that are not in tune, and they are 76 years old like me, that needs to ask your nephew or your son, my grandchildren, who are just whizzes at this stuff. So all of a sudden, I have to have that little bit of protection, and I have to have that little bit of support for me to achieve the same amount of, let's put it, activities and production as the people that are so fast with their computer. Now, as you know, I had to ask Tom and I had to ask Marco to set me up here tonight for this podcast. Guess what? Would I have been able to do it? Well, I tried, and thank God I don't get frustrated, but that's the answer. The answer is people that are in tune for everything that they do on the computer, it's a lot easier for them to do it.
Okay, very good. We have a question here. I'm going to try to scroll this down. How would employers react? Would an employer be willing to take on the burden of leasing office space when the same work can be done at home?
I think it really depends on the type of work that you have. In our situation where service, see, we go way beyond the word service. And I honestly believe that if you want to give someone the full service of what you're capable of doing, it is very hard to do it always from home. This is why, thank God, we have a task force that is looking after going back to work. And I'm told that perhaps, and I'm giving you something in advance because our board is going to decide on that tomorrow night, they want to go back a week at work, a week at home. And so that will give us a really good aptitude of seeing or gauging exactly what kind of production and what kind of reaction we're going to get from the people that are working from home and the people that are working from work.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Very interesting. You're actually you got a young, fruitful mind there, Mr. Ciccolini. You really are adapting to your grandkids' behavior, and you're making that change. I want to tap into something that the CIBPA, it's very close to us, and it's our education foundation. And my condolences on the passing of your brother Frank Sr. But Frank was a former CIBPA president and founder of the CIBPA Education Fund. Why was education important for Frank and the CIBPA, in your opinion?
So I'm going to go a little bit, I'm going to embellish this a little bit, and I'll come back to Frank. The CIBPA has been a real pillar in the Italian community, and someone that loves this community and getting involved with youth soccer with the Toronto Azzurri, hockey with the CYO, Etobicoke hockey, Woodbridge Minor hockey, Alliance hockey, Ontario Hockey Federation, Hockey Canada, the Vaughan Kings, which you mentioned. All this has been very fruitful in getting our name and our business acumen in the front of the people that we serve. Volunteering, and again, this is all the CIBPA thing because it's all volunteer work, was always a special thing for me, where I met some of the most incredible individuals that had made it easy for me to do business and receive the benefit, good graces, and allowing us to do it. People that I met through the CIBPA paved the way to do us business, our business, with them, with the likes of Emilio Gambin, Rudy Brady, John Cocomile, Dr. Olindo Casullo, your father, God rest his soul, he'll remember that name, Johnny Lombardi, Sam Cervera, Jack Daniels, Mike Cannone, Antonio Tiberini, Angelo Balsamo,
Wow.
Vito Bianchini, Nick DiLorenzo, Joe Mancinelli,
Jeez.
Guy Lettieri. I loved your dad. I just loved your dad. Joe Apugliese, Avram Silver, Condonino, Paul Godfrey, Joe Vitale, Art Pelliccione, Fred Darvish, Fred De Gasperis, Marco Muzzo, Giovanni De Gasperis, Guglielmo Coco, Carlo Baldassarra, Gary Campacci, Ned Santa Rosa, and many, many others. The CIBPA was relevant to all of us And to most of these people that I just mentioned, most of these personalities that I just mentioned were instrumental in trusting to insure their business with the likes of our firm, and in particularly our family touch that seemed to take the liking to us and foresaw the honesty in our delivery. My brother Frank and I started Masters Insurance in October 1966, joined by my brother Max and my dear friend Gary Corby later. As you know, my brother Frank was the president of the CIBPA in 1974-75. And that was the year of Villa Colombo, opening of Villa Colombo in 1974 with the telethons. And I remember your mom and I were at the door. Do you understand that? This is how relevant these things are. Wow. And to raise funds for the center. And they attracted stars like Gina Lollobrigida, Sophia Loren, Rossano Brazzi, and Phil Esposito. One of Frank's big value component to his presidency was the education, and he founded the CIBPA Education Foundation, where each and every year CIBPA bursaries are sponsored by members of the CIBPA, and they are given away to a bright, smart, young university student to further their education, something that some of us did not get the opportunity to get there. It was hard for one salary home, that was my home, to get to and have 7 grown people to feed each and every single year, or every single week. And so therefore, we had to achieve our success in a bit of a different way. Last of my brothers, Max, of course, had the opportunity of finished university degree, which we all cherish. Imagine though, all of our siblings, all of them, are now university graduates. And for us, for Frank, that was his goal. He always said, if you can't have an education, don't come and work at Masters Insurance. Wow. So that was Frank's legacy that he left behind.
Well, on behalf of CIBPA and all the Italians and the recipients, we'd like to extend a thank you to Frank Sr. for that initiative. And it's continuing, and it's a big part of the CIBPA. And
thank you.
A great effort into passing these dollars on to recipients of the education fund.
I can only tell you, Frank may be gone, but I can tell you that the rest of the Ciccolinis and Masters Insurance will be right beside CIBPA to give those bursaries out to the young people, as we did this past year, and as Frank has done for many, many years before that.
Well, very good. So I have a question. You mentioned all these are pillars in our community. They really built physically our city, but emotionally, culturally, and mentally, they really put together a strong infrastructure for my generation moving forward. How do you see the CIBPA lending a hand to, let's say, your grandkids? How do you see that in tomorrow's world? And maybe it's some insight.
Well, that's pretty easy, John, because and this is me because it's here. The CIBPA is a very integral part of our community and will be here forever. As a business community to share many ideas with its members, and does a lot to give back with shared business acumen that has created very successful undertaking of opportunities amongst its members. And this has been much of the success of the CIBPA. So when I go to a meeting and I'm invited by Mario Paura and tells me, will you come and express your feeling on certain areas? And I go there, I see nothing but young, vibrant, exhilarating young people, smart, bright. And all I can see is that they're going to just expunge out of everybody's and their ideas and make the CIBPA a better association, better for the business people, better for the people that belong in this great organization.
Well, we have one of your family members has sent a message directly from the heavens of Frank. And my mother, Jenny, Frank's wife, is watching this now. We thank you. My father was fiercely proud of the CIBPA. That's a huge message. And I thank
I know that.
football for that.
Well, you know what? All I can tell you, John, is we miss my brother because 54 years as partners doesn't go away in 1 second. And I'll tell you what, my brother's gone, but his legacy will always be with us. So that will always live forever.
Absolutely. And I was fortunate enough to meet one of your other brothers, I believe, in Italy. One of your nephews encouraged me to go from the bottom of the hill right to the top of Pesco Solido on a bike ride. And they had a wonderful...
Oh, you met Livio.
That was quite the experience.
Yes.
And, you know, it was riding up there. It was just really, you know, the thought of what this community brought to, you know, to myself and, you know, to my siblings, and how that you know, you really, my parents and yourself and all the names that you mentioned, we would just walk around that telethon in the mid-70s. You know, the first, you know,
Unbelievable.
The first day and a half, we had a fake answering the phones and receiving money. And then for the balance of the telethon, it was just amazing on how the production, and we got together. And, you know, you were all old.
It was incredible, John.
You were all old back then at the young age of 35, really. So
you're right.
you know, I thank you for that. And I remember also, I think it was the year after, there was the horrific earthquake in Friuli.
Yeah.
And you know, that was just the day that we just took every penny and passed it on to, you know, to our friends and families in Italy.
Do you remember that?
Wow. I remember that like yesterday.
Wow.
So,
and that was a big undertaking from Marco Muzzo and De Luca. Unbelievable.
Well, yeah, it was a special time, and I once again I thank you for that. In a small way, do you think that we can give back to the community and support each other during these tough times?
Well, first of all, as you know, many people are hurting. And if you're capable of some spare cash, some money, some of your income that you perhaps may be able to share with others that are less fortunate, donate to the hospitals, donate to the long-term care facilities. And you know that we have Villa Colombo Vaughan, Villa Colombo Toronto, Villa Leonardo Gambin, all these fabulous places. I know they're having difficulties right now, but trust me, up to now, they've been the pillar of what our seniors have been. It is unfortunate of what's happening, but we can donate to them to help the frontline workers who take a bullet for us every single day, and to keep us healthy and safe. I'm talking about the doctors, nurses, personal service workers, and general staff that help to clean the place each and every day. I personally have partnered with the Marner Assist Fund with Paul, Mitch, and Tasha by delivering lunch to frontline workers at St. Kitts, the police and fire department in Vaughan. We've donated to the Humber River Hospital, St. Mike's, to Italiamo, an initiative of the Ambassador Tafuri for the frontline workers in Italy. And all I can tell you, and I'm just going to say to everyone that's watching, donate $20, $10, $5. That's all they're asking for. But imagine if 200 people donated $20. Now you're able to buy at least 300 masks for those poor people that are in the front line, maybe not so poor, but they're always there to look after us. And it's important that they do that.
Well, Mr. Ciccolini, Sam, I can't thank you enough. For me, it was a personal honor to interview you. This is going to go down in the history books. And I thank the CIBPA for giving me this opportunity to do this. So what will be the first restaurant you wish to go to post-pandemic?
Well, I'm going to end it because you've asked me to say something else with respect how I stay healthy, right?
Oh,
And I'm going to end it this way. There's no secret of staying healthy and strong. It is simply to be honest yourself. Do everything in moderation. Wear an infectious smile like I do. Be kind to your staff and show your love to your immediate family. So I draw my greatest strength for somebody above. Her name is Christina. She's always around us. I have an incredible immediate family that I had working, and my son Michael, who is resilient and determined, an amazing daughter-in-law, 3 unbelievable, amazing grandchildren, Eric, Christina, and Jacqueline, and then of our family, my wife. The restaurant that I will go post-pandemic, you know, I have a soft spot for hamburgers, Johnny. So when we started Masters Insurance, Sergio Marchione worked at the bank and he looked after Masters Insurance account. Every single day we used to go to St. Clair and Caledonia to have a hamburger. My favorite hamburger right now is Hero Burger.
You got it,
and
baby.
I want to say
Thank
that
you for
loud.
that plug.
Hero Burger. Do you know that every time Ali Bitabadi and I go to the games downtown, our first stop is Hero Burger.
Hero Burgers. Well, thank you very much, and
Now,
it's well appreciated.
If and when we come back, the first place that I'm going to go and have a real dinner, and I know everybody will want to take me, is Soto Soto and the amazing Marisa Rocca.
Well, very
John,
good.
it's been a pleasure. It's been an honor. And thank you very, very much for choosing me as your first person to come on your podcast.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Ciccolini. And on some closing remarks, Canada is the home of more than 1.5 million Canadians of Italian descent, and Italian Heritage Month is the perfect time to recognize and showcase the rich culture and heritage of the Italian Canadians, as well as their ongoing contribution to building a stronger, vibrant, and more inclusive Canada. Mr. Ciccolini and all our guests, I'd like to wish you a great evening. Thank you very much. God bless you and your family in good health, Sam.
Thank you very, very much, John. Take care.
Very good. Thank you.